Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Best Year Yet Workshops 2021. It really feels like 2021 now. I always feel like once these workshops start, then the year has actually finally begun. So let me know where you're tuning in from, because we have lots of people from around the world taking part. We have 4,000 people actually taking part, or it's 4,200 when I last checked, which is amazing. So big hello to all the new people who have just discovered us. There's lots of new faces and new names around. It's not a hoax. I have lots of people worried that these workshops are a con or a hoax, and I promise you it's not. I do these 2 workshops twice a year and do them for free because I love getting people together from around the world and doing these workshops because they help and they make such a difference. So I do have a membership platform for people who want to get extra support making art their living, but there's absolutely no pressure to join. I just want you to enjoy the workshops, and I'll explain more about the hub if you are interested in joining on the 18th, because that's when we open enrolment. I do want to just say a quick thank you though to all the members who are part of United Art Space, because it is because of your subscription and your contribution towards being a member that I'm able to run these workshops. So a big, massive thank you. So who is ready? Let me know in the comments, who is ready to take 2021 by the horns and make it the best year yet? I will check all the comments at the end, so please do ask any questions as I go along. I will come back to them after the live session has finished. If you have just signed up, don't panic. I know at this stage, if you've just found us and you've just signed up, you might be thinking, I am so behind, I haven't done all that prep work that she sent me. So if you have just signed up, there's an email that went out to you with a video called Bootcamp. And I recommend focusing on the bootcamp and just doing your prep work quick and dirty, fast, mind mapping, reflecting. You can do it in an hour and you can catch up in an hour, I promise you. Order one of these big calendars or make your own one of these big year view calendars, and that's it. You know, just get going. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have everything ticked off the box to make progress in these sessions. So as I was thinking about what we've learned from 2021, what a year. One thing that I've learned is that we have no control over anything except for one thing, and that is our thoughts. It's the only one thing that we have control over. So the way we react to situations, the way we believe in ourselves and what's possible, the way that we take action towards designing our own lives. Because success is no accident. We create success on purpose, and it's the way that we condition our thoughts and the way that we focus on the right action that matters. So during these workshops, that's what I want to help you with. That's what's helped me get to where I am, and that's why I love doing these workshops, because this process has completely changed my life. So during the workshops, it's a kind of 5-part process. The first stage is reflection, which is the prep work, which is all about reflecting back, but also reflecting forwards in terms of what you want from life. What do you want more of? What do you want less of? Without fear, without judgment, thinking into the future with no time limit. Then today, workshop 1, this one, is all about the vision. And this workshop, we start to really think about the vision for 2021. So this year. And then on Monday the 11th is the 3rd workshop, which is plan. And we then start to help you break down those goals into a manageable plan. And it will really help you see whether you're being realistic or whether you need to implement things. So that's the planning workshop after this one. That's workshop 2. Workshop 3 is focus. That's on the 14th. There is a graphic with all of these dates on, which has been sent out in an email. The focus workshop is all about then how to create habits, how to create associations, and really getting you to look at where you need to focus your time and what you need to focus on. Then on Monday the 18th, it's all about action. How will you take action on all of this planning throughout the whole year, not just for the next 2 weeks? And it's in that video, I'll also talk about the hub and how you can get extra support if you want it. I'll also be sharing the biggest mistake that I see artists make time and time again. So they're the main workshops. There will be live sessions in between, Q&A sessions. I'll answer, if I get questions that are coming up a lot, I'll do a live session to answer those. You don't have to attend the sessions in between. The sessions that I've just mentioned now are the main ones, so just consume those if you're pushed for time. All the replays are available until the 21st of January, then everything gets archived, so that is your deadline to watch and consume and take action. So I know that some people have just found us, they probably don't have a clue who I am, so I'm just going to do a very, very short, quick intro. I am Michelle Lloyd, and I founded United Art Space 6 years ago, and it started as a physical studio space here in the UK, and then I took it all online 5 years ago, and in fact it's our 5th birthday in April. I can't believe we've been going for 5 years. So I've been doing live videos for the last 5 years every week. I don't think there's been many weeks that I haven't done a live video, which is mind-blowing actually to now think how many I've done. So I started by creating a virtual art studio, which is our Facebook group, and art challenges every week for nearly 3 years. I did those. And then what I started to see inside the group was people who were making amazing artwork, but doing nothing with it. It was sitting in a drawer and they just didn't know what to do. So then I created the Hub, which is an online platform to support artists through making it into a living and getting it seen and finding people who really recognise and appreciate their artwork. So this process, the best year yet, is my own process that I do year after year. And I started doing this about 4 years ago, because I was sick and tired of getting nowhere. Every year, I kept having the same goals every year, and I just got so frustrated with writing the same things and feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere. So I started to follow a few people, and Beth Kempton was one of them. She is founder of Do What You Love for Life and Make Art That Sells. I took some of her courses. She is amazing. Jeff Walker was another guy who has lots of books and interesting content on planning for your year. Melanie Moore was somebody that I learned how to do vision boarding from. I took one of her courses. And Carrie Green is founder of the Female Entrepreneur Association, and she does a lot of work on planning. And so I learned from those 4 people about 4 years ago. And I just took all the bits that resonated with me and turned it into my own plan over the years. It kind of really come together a year ago, I would say. So this is what I'm sharing with you during my workshops. It's what I do, but and there's quite a lot to the process. But 4 years ago, I didn't do all of this. So even if you just do a small part of these workshops, you will make progress. I'm giving you everything that I do because it's become a bit of a ritual for me, but you can adapt this and do it in your own way. I'll share the process and you just dip in, do what you feel feels right, but keep an open mind and alter the questions, you know, make it flexible. And like I say, you don't have to do everything. And during the workshops, I will go through what is most important, I feel is most important, and what is kind of optional in case you are pushed for time. The great thing is as well, we are doing this together. So we have a free pop-up group which will close on the 21st. But if you're on Facebook, please join that group because everyone is sharing what they're working on, their vision boards. And it's just really, really exciting to meet other people from around the world that we wouldn't usually meet. So the reflection is the prep. And it's important to start with that prep, even if you do it quickly. So you take a drink. Because that sets the direction for the future. And these workshops are really around creating our own version of success and getting very intentional about what we want and what we need to do to get there. We start to become very selective about what we focus on because our time is limited and we can't get a refund on time. These workshops will help you start to understand what you want to say yes to and what you want to say no to. And it's not easy. People sometimes make it look easy on the surface, but especially if it's making art your living that is your goal, it takes consistent action and determination, but it can be done. We have had so much success from our members inside the hub this year. I mean, there's too many to go through. But Amanda sent me this message saying, I've been reflecting on the last few months and it's been tough, but I've planted ideas and it's worked. I can't tell you how excited I am to share. I've been given my biggest commission worth 2,000 and I've been asked to go to France to teach. I've bought a caravan to travel. I'm just so optimistic about the future. Thank you so much. So this is someone who, you know, maybe had no vision and now it's all starting to come together because of this direction in the first place. And then there's just so many. Woody, I know Woody's probably on now. I've seen your name. Woody's had his best year in 2020. Exhibitions, really like developing his confidence in his work. There was a message here from Jackie. Jackie said, you know, in 2020, I finally decided to give up my part-time job and go full-time as an artist. And it's given me so much more time. I paint most mornings, can help my daughter. And she's kind of unwell. So that means so much to Jackie to be able to do that. And she's discovered online selling through Instagram and she's taken £17,000 between March and November. And there was another great one here as well. Where's that one gone? So many, I can't read them all out. Poppy said, what a crazy year. Poppy went from no job in March with no idea what to do. She said, I had no artistic voice. I had no direction. Now, and that was just March. Now I'm selling online, knowing why I do it and what I have to offer. I just cannot thank you enough. It's just incredible. One more, because there's so many. This was from Sandra, and she said at the age of 60, with one commission in the bag and 6 more waiting to be done, I actually finally feel like I'm living my dream. Massive thank you for creating United Art Space and the wonderful hub. It's just so incredible. It's just so lovely to read. And so we're going to be sharing lots of stories out with you over the next few weeks to inspire you, because the more you read these, the more it just gives you that determination and belief in your own journey. And I liken this part to world travel. So I could say to myself, I want to travel the world. And by saying this out loud, I'm planting the seed. But without water and attention, the seed will lie dormant. So we need to take action and plan to really bring this statement of world travel to life. And what we want to start asking ourselves, you know, I'm using world travel as an analogy. Yours might be setting up a studio. It could be having a solo show. It could be living on the beach and selling from a hut. But what we want to start doing, and this is what we'll do over the next few weeks, is asking, what does world travel really mean? Because it's quite a flippant, broad statement. And when we start to drill in, like where, what countries, when we start to ask, how long would it take? How would I make this happen? We start to get more clarity on the direction. But one thing I will just mention here is when we do start to question our direction, the fear and overwhelm kicks in. And this is why most people stop and stall, because they start to go, oh my gosh, yeah, that's massive. I could never do that. I'm not good enough. I just don't have the time to do that. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. All these fear stories start pouring in. So we are going to do a lot of work on this, as your belief in your own success directly impacts your potential for success. So if you're comparing yourself to others, feeling like you're not good enough, these feelings won't go away unless you address them. So if you have had feelings coming up during the prep work, this is good, because it means that you've got areas that you need to work on, areas that you need to go, right, okay, I feel uncomfortable with this. Why? So it's also being intentional about how you handle them. So if you are comparing yourself and you feel like that's holding you back, it's time to change it. And I know it sounds simple, but it's finding a way to either stop following those people or reframing it. Another thing is, if you start to doubt whether it's possible, and this is why I want to share lots of stories with you, it's about remembering that other people have done this. How did they do it? How did they start? If it's possible for them, it's possible for me. And you don't need to have all the answers. If you have something that you want to achieve and you have no idea how you're going to get there, that's okay. You do not need to know all the steps. All you need to know is the next 3 steps. You just need to know the next 3 steps and how you're going to take those. Because with having direction, that's when the journey begins. So I might say, I want to travel the world, and I'll choose my next destination. And I could plan all these different countries that I'll go to. And when I embark on the journey, I might get to Australia and decide, you know what, I want to stay in Australia. I love it here. Or there's a part of Australia I've never seen. And I'm using this analogy to describe your journey. This is what will happen when you set sail on your own journey. Things will happen that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities will come your way. Sharon is a great example of this, who I work with a lot. She set off on her journey of becoming an artist, a professional artist who sells. And she's just had the most phenomenal opportunities come her way that she could never have planned for. Like, her art has been auctioned last year. She was like, I didn't know that I could auction my artwork. And it comes from having the direction, and Sharon's direction, her big vision is being in Yorkshire Sculpture Park, which is a huge place for exhibiting. It's, you know, it's an amazing, amazing space here in the UK. And all of her action and what she's doing now is taking her towards that goal. Now, it's the direction, and the journey has given her this incredible experience. And it might not be about the destination. She might not end up being in the sculpture park, and that is fine, because she's going on this incredible journey as she sets sail in that direction. So digging into the workshop now in terms of the action, worksheet 1 inside of the lesson. So you'll be emailed this, and it is also on the website link to download. It's available. It should be available now. We were still just putting on all the fillable boxes about 15 minutes ago. So it will be live in the next hour. So worksheet 1 is just a few questions, not as big as the prep, but it's starting to get you to think about this year. And one of the actions is to look at your mind maps. So there's one of my mind maps, is to look at your mind maps from your prep, and to look at your goals from your personal and your art mind maps, and start to circle 1 to 3 goals from each of those mind maps. I'm going to cover money goals in the next workshop when we start to plan, and we're going to do good, better, best goals in the next workshop. So don't worry too much about the money one at the moment. Start to think about your personal and your art, and think about what are the 1 to 3 things that really stand out as being most important on these. And that's what we're going to bring out now. And this can be hard. It can be easy for some people. You just know. So circle them. And that's what we're going to start working with. And what you can do at this stage as well, when you circle those goals, is start to ask yourself what feels like a short-term goal and what feels like a long-term goal. And you might not know the answer to this, and that's okay. When I first started this process 4 years ago, I had no clue. And I set goals that were totally unrealistic because I just didn't know. I've never done it before. And that's okay. And this is where you'll learn, like this process now, I understand this process so much more, and I'm much better at knowing now whether something is long-term or short-term. An example for me is I want to write my book this year. I've always wanted to write a book, and this year I know it's the year for me to do it. I have no idea. I know it's a long-term goal, but I have no idea whether I can get that done this year. I don't know what it takes. I just have no clue. So I'm focusing on the next 3 steps. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit because we're going to be helping you plan those steps in the next workshop. But for now, I just want you to circle those 1 to 3 goals from your mind maps that are important. And what we want to do is make sure that your goals that you set are funneling into that bigger vision that you really want, the direction of your life and what you want to do in the future. So an example for one of my short-term goals is on my personal one is that this year, what came up for me was I want to spend more time with the kids. I want to spend more quality time with the kids. And also, because we're in a lockdown here and we can't go anywhere, I really want to explore what's on my doorstep. There's so many lovely places that I just don't know about, literally on my doorstep. And that's a short term for me. And it's an important one. And I've circled that one. That's something that's important to me, and it's a short-term goal that I'm pulling out of my personal one. Then on my art one, the book is like really loud and clear. It's like shouting at me, you've got to write a book this year. So I've circled that one, and I know that's a long-term. Now, when I think of long-term and short-term, for me, short-term is like within the year. So that's something that I can get done this year or within. And then longer term is beyond, it's over a year. This is just rough. Like I say, you might not know, and we can help you figure this out. So don't panic if you don't know whether something's a long term or short term. And one thing I want to say as well is when you are thinking about the direction that you want to go in, one big lesson that I've learned over the years is not to get hung up on the destination. So, for example, it could be that you've created a money goal, or that you have created, like, I'm desperate to get into this gallery. And that's your destination, that's the vision. And one thing I've learned is to just embrace the journey. The journey is the most important part of this. And I used to get really hung up on the destination. And when I first started this process, I got really upset when I didn't hit the destination in that first year. I was crying, I felt like a failure, and I was, it can destroy you if you pin everything on the destination. And one thing that I've learned, biggest advice I can give, is the journey. The journey, when we set sail, that first 2 years, I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. Nothing was happening on my vision board. I didn't feel like I was hitting any of my goals. But what I didn't realize is everything that I was doing, I was still moving forwards, but I just couldn't see it because there was nothing tangible for me to go, hey, look, I did this. It just felt like there was nothing to see and nothing to shout about. But everything that I was doing was amounting to something. It was teaching me about this process. It was teaching me so much about myself, what I really want. I didn't realize any of that at the time. So persevere, don't get hung up on the destination, and enjoy the journey, and open yourself up to the opportunities as well that present themselves when you go on that journey. Because when you get really clear on the destination and the direction, without getting hung up on getting there, it's kind of having a flag in the ground that you can say, right, that's where I'm heading. And it gives you that clarity and focus of how to get there. And then amazing opportunities start to present themselves. It's crazy. I talk about the red car thing all the time. When you buy a red car, you'll see the red car everywhere, and there aren't more red cars. They were there all the time. It's just we're tuned in to seeing them. So this is what we start to do through these workshops. We're getting really tuned in on what we want, and then we start to see the opportunities in front of us for how we can make it happen. So it's starting to whittle this down now over the next few weeks, 2 weeks, so that we can get that real clear vision. And another thing as well is, don't get hung up on all of this making you happy. So I'm saying all of this because these are the mistakes that I made when I first started doing this process. So I felt like everything on this board was going to make me happy. And what I learned, and where I found my happiness, in fact, was when I had no money and everything was crumbling around me. And that's when I realized I don't need all of this to be happy. And I chose to be happy in that moment and found my happiness. That's a whole other story. But I just say this because as I do this, I remind myself of this all the time, that my happiness does not depend on this. I am doing this to grow, to have an amazing life, to see what's possible, because there are so many opportunities that we hold ourselves back on. And it's exciting and it's great to push ourselves out of our comfort zones and grow. I think that's what we're meant to do, but our happiness does not lie in this. So I always write that on my vision board as well. My happiness does not depend on this. So what you want to be doing is really just making sure you're not choosing a life because you can't see any other way of making your real dream happen. So being really honest with yourself and what you really want in this process. Now, the next actions are optional. So I'm going to read some of the other things that I do as part of this process. You don't need to do all of these. You can just choose one and it will help. But these are things that have really helped me over the years. I love this quote: in order to be ourselves, we have to know ourselves. And that's what we're doing in this process, is really, really taking the time to know ourselves. And one of the biggest things that helped me in 2020 was tracking my time. Now, this is not sexy. I'm going to admit it now. It's a really hard task to do. And it's one that you'll probably put off and you won't want to do it. But I tracked my time in 2020 for a whole week, and I struggled to get going because it's hard to remember to do it and I couldn't find a system to make it work. But if you can track your time for at least 24 hours, either digitally or manually, there's an app that I use which is free called Toggl. If you can track your time, I was talking about this the other day, you know, when we have money, we want to know where that money's gone. And time is the same. Time is a valuable resource. And we want to know in a 24-hour period, how much time am I scrolling? How much time am I watching television? How much time am I spending on the phone? It's adding all these things up and knowing where the time is going. And it is such an amazing, once you kind of get a system going of doing it, even if you just do it for a day, it's such an amazing insight. We think we know what we're spending our time on and what we're doing, but actually when I did the exercise, it totally challenged what I thought I was spending my time on to what I was actually doing. And it also made me realize the annoying habits that I have of scrolling and checking my phone. And I realized that I'll start work and then I just go to my phone. And sometimes, this is a weird one, I don't know if you ever do this, if my phone is lying on the side, I'll just go and touch it just to see. So that came from that exercise of tracking my time. It not only showed me where my time was going, but it showed me all the weird little habits that I've developed. And so what I then started to do was turn my phone off when I'm working on something. And I found myself touching the phone and it was off. And it was so weird. Anyway, so that's one optional task. Even if you don't do it during these workshops, it's something to think about in the future. Like, I'm not tracking my time right now. I had got a bit addicted to it when I started it. But I recommend doing that. Even if you do it for 24 hours, keeping a notebook, maybe set an alarm on your phone to remind you, and just check in with where you're spending your time, because it will help when you start to plan how you're spending your day and how you can be more effective with what it is that you want to get done this year. Another thing that I recommend doing, I absolutely love this process, is visualization. So, visualization has been done for centuries and centuries and centuries. And top athletes do this. They, before doing a race, they will visualize themselves winning the race. I learned this process years ago when I worked in corporate, and I was a personal assistant to some senior directors, and they got this guy in to do visualization with the directors to focus on how they're going to take the business forward. So it's used by so many people, and it is very, very powerful. That's why people do it. So what I would challenge you to do is every day for the next 2 weeks, visualize every day for 3 minutes, at least 3 minutes. But 3 minutes is nothing. So what I do is I set a timer on my phone for 3 minutes, close my eyes. You can choose your big vision, or you can choose one of your goals for 2021. So for me, it might be me writing my book, and I'll be writing my book and it'll be flowing and all the words are flowing out of me. And then I'll put it out there and loads of people are buying it and saying how amazing it is. It's anything. I mean, I've done this before for so many things. I do it for these workshops. I've done it for exhibitions that I've had. I've done it for interviews that I've had. I have used this if I am facing a really hard lesson that I'm trying to write and I can't get the words flowing. I visualize, and then it's weird. I'll just start writing it after I visualize doing it. So it's powerful. This is powerful. And like I said earlier about the red car, we want to get this vision clear in your mind. And if you think about it every day, that's one sure way of getting this in your mind. You will start to see things, emails. You'll read something in the paper and go, oh, that's so weird. That is aligned with what I was thinking about. And it's no coincidence. These things are always been there, but you'll be tuned in. So choose something that you can visualize on, whether it's your big vision from the prep, or it just has to be one thing though. This work will work. It'll be more powerful if you just focus on one thing. You might not know the answer right now. It will either be your big vision or the one goal that you choose from your mind map. And do this every day. We will keep each other accountable. I've slipped on this one. I was visualizing and I've stopped. So I'm going to be committed to doing this with you. I'm going to check in, make sure that I visualize every day. I spend my 3 minutes. But definitely recommend doing that. It might be your money goal. It might be thinking about that every single day. And what follows on from that is writing a mission statement, a 2021 mission statement. Now, don't overthink this. It doesn't have to be a fancy mission statement with all your grammar and the spelling correct. It just has to be something personal for you that sums up the direction that you're going in for 2021. And this can change. It doesn't have to be fixed, but having something written out, it's the same thing. So visualization, we're doing it in the brain. Seeing it written, we're kind of processing it through the eyes, and we're reading it. It's also sensory. That's what we're doing here, is creating this in visual, the mind map, sensory, written, visualizing it in the mind's eye. So the mission statement, you know, you might have a mission statement that is related to your art. Sharon has this in her studio. She has a little mission statement. This is the art I want to make in this year. It's focused on the figure. It's because I am interested in this, and that's it. Puts it on her studio wall so she stays focused on her mission with her artwork. I had my little mission statement written out and pinned on my wall next to my bed. So I could see it every day. And there was a time I ripped it up and chucked it away because it didn't feel like it was happening. And then I ripped it out again and stuck it back when I got over myself. So I recommend doing that as well. Like I say, you don't have to do all of these things. I'm just giving you things that have worked for me in the past. And I just think if you've got the time, try it. Who knows? Everyone's different in the way that we are triggered by things. So the statement might not make you, you know, it might not connect with you, but maybe visualization will. So give it a go. And one thing I will say on this statement, your personal statement, you don't have to make this public, is write it in the present tense. I am an artist. I'm selling artwork on the beach. I am making 100,000 a year. It feels amazing. The sun's on my skin. Everyone's loving my artwork. You know, write it in that way that's present tense. And you know, I don't know enough about the brain and science, but it is said that the brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So when we imagine something happening, it kind of stores in the brain as, you know, did that happen or didn't it happen? And the same when we write something in the present tense, it's a kind of affirmation that it's already happening. So that's a powerful one. People have said when they've done these workshops before, by flipping the tense to present has had a massive impact on how they felt about their goal. So one of the other things as well, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, so you don't have to do all of this, just remember, I'm just sharing these little extra tips with you because one of them might stand out to you to really help you over the next 2 weeks. One of the other things is being really conscious of who you're spending your time with, because it is said that we are the result of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And one big thing for me, and I haven't done this yet, you know, this is something that I'll think about, is the top 3 people I will follow online. So I think about the 5 people I'm spending most time with, and you want to make sure that they are expanders. We were talking about this in my Hub membership community the other week about people being expanders, people who inspire you, who you look up to, who you're like, wow, that's so amazing that they've done that, and you follow them and put them into your world. It's feeding that belief and giving you the courage to do it in your own life. And things will get in your way and people can be so negative and bring you back down. So having these people in your life that you follow is really important. So plant the seed of that to really choose your people carefully, because sometimes we can't choose. We have family or friends that, you know, are in our lives and maybe they inflict their fear onto us. So we have to protect our own energy and where we're focusing. And the best way to do that, I have 3 people I always follow online, and I listen to their podcasts and I follow what they're saying, and it just keeps me going. So I thought I'd share that one. Now I work in 3s, you know, just choose one person that you'll follow if you want to keep it simple. And then one last seed that I just want to plant inside of your mind is as you go through the worksheets, I do prompt you on this, but it's just to start to think as you look at your goals, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be? And what do I need to have to make this happen? And you might not know the answer all the time to this. And I've put it inside the worksheet to just prompt you, be, do, have. And I find this useful. For example, when I first said I want to write the book, I felt the fear massively. And I started to put obstacles in my way immediately. So for me, I knew instantly, I need to be brave. I need to just start doing this and learning how to do it. I need to have more belief in myself. So it was just those 3 words are powerful. They're so simple sometimes, but it just brings awareness to, I need to do this. And when I thought about that, I thought, I need to say it out loud. And I said, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book next year. And saying it terrified me. I was like, ugh. But by saying it and in the present tense, it's made it real. And I am writing it and I'm taking a course and it's all coming to fruition now. It's really exciting. But a couple of months ago, it terrified the life out of me because I didn't have a clue. I have dyslexia. So, you know, I know it's going to be challenging. But just thinking about that do, be, have sometimes just helps me just think, what do I need? You know, what do I need to do? Really simple, doesn't have to be deep at this stage. We will think more about this in the next workshop when we look at the goal in detail. So I just want to recap. So we have reflected. So the prep work is all about reflection. And now we are creating our vision for 2021. We're starting to become more aware of ourselves, the way we think, the way we're spending our time, who we're surrounding ourselves with, and what those 1 to 3 main goals are on your bigger vision that you would like to take out to potentially do this year. So circle 1 to 3 goals from your art and your personal. Doesn't matter, you know, even if it's 1, that's more powerful. 3 maximum, because what we will do is whittle this down. You know, even if you've just got 1 goal off one and 1 goal off the other, that's great because it's really focused. Have a little think about whether you feel they're long-term or short-term. Don't get hung up on the answer, just think about it. So answer the worksheets, circle your 1 to 3 goals, and then choose 1 action from the list that I just read out, and it's in a checklist, so you don't have to remember, about the visualization, tracking your time, the expanders. Just choose 1 of those actions. And if you don't have time, just focus on the questions in the worksheet. There aren't that many this time, so it shouldn't take you that long. So if you enjoyed this session, give it a like, give it a comment, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know in the comments as well if anything came up for you that you thought, oh my gosh, I didn't know this about myself, or if there was an aha moment for you. If you've chosen your word as well, let me know in the comments. I am going to go and read every single comment and get back to you all. And if you know anybody that would benefit from this, please tag them, share the video. It's available to everyone. So yeah, let anyone know if you think it would benefit them. And so tomorrow there will be a Q&A session at the same time. It's 11 AM UK time. I will do a Q&A session. So I'll be available to answer any questions that you have about this planning. There is the Facebook group as well. We'll be over in there answering any questions, and of course on this thread. And then in the next workshop after this, what we are going to do is take those 1 to 3 goals, and we're going to help you start to break them down into the next 3 steps and really start to think about, you know, whether they are long-term, short-term, and whether are you putting too much on your plate, or is that achievable? And really helping you with your money goals too. we're going to start thinking about the goals in good, better, best. And that will really help you start to see on your calendar as well whether you have the time to do these goals. And if you don't, then how are we going to readjust your time? So can't wait for that one. That's when we start to get into planning. So I'm just going to move over to the comments quickly and have a look. I won't hang around long because I know people will watch the replay, and if they see it's too long, they might not watch the replay. It's so lovely to see you all here. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Sinead's chosen her word. It's believe. Love it. Tori, be brave. Tanya, thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. Yay. Lorna's fired up. Jane's word is positivity. Awesome. Yay, Shirley's feeling inspired. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to read this. I've just seen all the comments. I'm going to pour myself a lovely cup of tea now and go and read all the comments. So any questions whatsoever, let us know. If you have any problems downloading the worksheets or finding the links, email support@unitedartspace.org and we can help you with anything related to links and things like that. So yay, 2021, let's do it together as well. It's amazing when we come together as a group to do this. It's going to get everyone fired up and we can all be inspired and motivated by each other. So take care, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. I will send the links for tomorrow's session and just enjoy it. Please remember that this is a process. It's your life. We've got one life. Enjoy it. Don't take this too seriously. Just your happiness at the end of the day is the most important thing. So just try and enjoy it. Do what you can. Reach out for help if you need it, and just know that it's an exciting process. I know it can be overwhelming sometimes. I've got ADHD and my brain spins, and when you're doing the mind map and there's lots of things, it can be overwhelming. But reach out, because the whole purpose of this is to make it less overwhelming as we go on. So keep going, and you are amazing. I love you all. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.